Okay, hey, this is Andrew, and I am bringing you some spoilers from Ghost Galaxy posted the last couple days. This is crazy. These people are insane in their update, in their post cadence lately. I think especially considering that they're prepping for Keyforge Celebration, which has got to be a big deal, and on top of that, they have to drop a rulebook update before Keyforge Celebration. So, yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting and wild and crazy and fun. But they're still finding time to drop updates on the website. So let's go through those. The two updates they've dropped have each contained spoilers for some of the common cards from two houses each. So we're basically just going to look at some spoilers here. And the first article is Brobnar and Sanctum, which are both beefy board houses, so that's kind of fun. And yeah, let's see what we see. So the first, they say a lot of words, that's fine. The first creature we see, or the first card we see here, and again, these are all commons. They're kind of highlighting commons because these will give a lot of flavor to the set. That's pretty exciting. So the first one we see here is Krog the Clumsy, who is a 7-power giant with Splash Attack 2. And Splash Attack is a new keyword that essentially works like the before fight deal damage effects that we saw in previous sets. Technically, it's a little different because it is simultaneous to the damage from fighting, but it is not affected by elusive. So it is really functionally the same as a before fight damage. I'm trying to think of a situation where that might be different, and I can't think of one. So, well, this looks a lot like Cowfine from AOA and Worlds Collide, but it's 2 extra power. So, already a little bit of an upgrade there. I like it. Then we have Shock Herder, who is a 3-power goblin with deploy and play, ready, and fight with a neighboring creature. So this is probably most comparable to, well, it's not exactly the same. I mean, I guess really you should compare this to Ganger Chieftain. I was thinking Grey Rider because it has deploy, but because it's only on play, really it's more comparable to Ganger Chieftain, but it has the deploy, which is kind of nice. So I think that's pretty great. I like Shock Herder, and it means you don't get punished if you didn't align your board just perfect. All right. Next, we have Rowdy Scald, who is a 4-power goblin, and they explain that every house in Winds of Exchange features a common card with the Enhance keyword. So every house is going to have a common card with Enhance and probably no other effects, no other abilities. So this is that for Brobnar. And we get an Amber and 2 damage. Yeah, that pretty much makes sense. Then we get into some actions. We have Press Gang, which and I think they are in these articles. They're kind of highlighting token-oriented actions or token-oriented actions. So, by the way, Rowdy Scald, those little mine things, those could look a little like the something from the house from Gormengeist, but probably not. But anyway, there that is. And then we have these actions. So Press Gang is an action that says play, make a token creature. If an enemy creature was destroyed this turn, archive Press Gang. That's fun because you get to reuse it, and probably most Brobnar turns you are destroying an enemy creature, so seems good. Then we have Ragnarok Prep, which is an action that says play, make a token creature. Then, if you control more creatures than your opponent loses 2 amber. Yeah, that's kind of good. Um, I mean, you need to control more creatures than your opponent, but hopefully in Brobnar you have some ability to do that. And yeah, I mean, making your opponent lose 2 is pretty good. Okay, Mighty Club is an artifact, and it works a lot like Gauntlet of Command. So it's a weapon. It has action, ready, and enrage a creature. So Gauntlet of Command would ready and fight with a creature. This readies it and enrages it. So you could conceivably ready it and then not fight with it. It's hard to imagine why you would want to. It really is difficult to imagine any situation where this would be different from Gauntlet of Command in function. But, oh, well, that's weird. Oh, two things that are different about it. One, well, one is it doesn't work for house cheating because if you ready and enrage a non-Brobnar creature, that creature still can't fight, so or do anything unless you have a way to make it do something. So that's interesting. The other interesting thing here is that you could enrage an enemy creature, and that could be beneficial to you. So I actually think this is a little less powerful than Gauntlet of Command overall, but probably in most cases it just ends up being the same. You're playing a Brobnar creature, readying it and fighting with it, but you can't house cheat with it. All right. Next to Sanctum. Sanctum, very armor oriented here. So the first creature we see here is Revered Monk, who is a 4-power human monk that gets +2 armor for each of its Sanctum neighbors. So yeah, with 2 Sanctum neighbors, it's going to be a 4-power, 4 armor creature, which is good. It's big. That's not that exciting to me actually, but it seems interesting. Then we have the Sanctum enhanced creature, which is Cassiel the Benevolent, a 2-power human knight with 2 armor. And the enhance on here is an amber and 2 captures. That also seems pretty appropriate. So a little different on the stats, right? Because 2 power, 2 armor instead of just 4 power in Brobnar. Okay, Nightapult. This one's interesting. It's an artifact, it's a weapon, and it says action. The next time a friendly creature enters play this turn, you may have it enter anywhere in your battle line. Ready. That is super cool. So it gives a creature deploy and lets it come in ready. That I love. Nightapult seems pretty great. And silly. I mean, that is so silly. Okay, then we have in the action category, Retribution is an action with an amber. It says, play if there are more enemy creatures than friendly creatures, destroy an enemy creature. So yeah, this is like a lower powered version of Numquid the Fair because it can only destroy once, but seems okay. And there's never a downside to playing it. Muster is an action so here's the token actions. Make a token creature. If your opponent has more amber than you, archive Muster. So this archives if you're behind. Of course, you don't want to be behind, but hopefully you can swing the timing on this to work in your benefit. Then we have Membership Drive, which is an action that says play, make a token creature, gain 1 amber for each friendly token creature. That is crazy. If you have a lot of token creatures, you really could generate a lot of amber here. So that's pretty interesting and fun, and I like it. All right. So that's it for Brobnar and Sanctum. And then so that was before the weekend. After the weekend, we got this article that has Saurian and Unfathomable. So that's fun. The World of Wonders Explored. So the houses that we haven't seen yet, spoiled in this particular way would be Star Alliance, Star Alliance, Mars, and Equidon. So looking forward to hopefully they drop those soon. Maybe I'll have a chance to put up a video. I cannot promise anything because it's going to be a tight schedule getting to KFC, getting to Keyforge Celebration. Okay, so let's see here. In Saurian, again, these are commons. First, we see Aquilia Lone Hero, which we recognize the name of. We saw that on the Unchained example deck. Aquilia Lone Hero. This is a 6-power dinosaur soldier with 1 armor. That is a big presence. I mean, that's big. 6 power, 1 armor. Not shocking in Saurian, but it is interesting that it's big. Okay, and then it has Omni, capture 1 amber if there are more friendly creatures than enemy creatures. Oh, sorry, if there are more enemy creatures than friendly creatures. This is cool. I mean, the ability to fire this on your opponent's turn seems good. So I'm very interested to have that. It's really going to be crazy having Brobnar, Sanctum, and Saurian. I mean, that kind of makes this lean towards being a board heavy deck. The question will be, like, does it have enough stuff to threaten some of the previous powerhouse sets? We'll have to see, but I'm excited. I like board stuff, so this is really good. All right. Then we have Ballistego, who is a 5-power dinosaur soldier. I'm going to read the play effect in a second. It says, while Ballistego has amber on it, it gains splash attack 3. So 5 power with splash attack 3 seems pretty good. And when you play it, you may exalt it. Probably you end up not exalting it and then having a way on your next turn to like capture an amber onto it and then do this. But you could exalt it if you so choose. Yeah, that seems like a fun one. Then we have Grammaticus Thrax, who is a 5-power dinosaur philosopher. This is the enhanced one, so it's a little bigger than the Brobnar one, but it does not have an amber enhancement. It said it has 2 captures and a damage, so a little bit different, and a little extra power, I think, to balance that out. Then we have the token actions. So we have recruit. It seems like every house is going to have some common action that makes a token creature, and then if a condition is met, archives. So recruit says make a token creature. If you exalted a friendly creature this turn, archive recruit. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Symposium is an action that says play exalt, ready, and use a friendly creature. Okay, that's standard Saurian stuff. If it is a token creature, you may exalt, ready, and use another friendly creature. That's pretty cool. I really like that. And, we hopefully get that with strong. You want to get this with nice tokens so that you get value out of that first exalt, ready, and use. But, yeah, it seems pretty okay. All right. Then we have Epic Poem. This is interesting. When you play it, you exalt a friendly creature, and then you gain 1 amber for each amber on that creature. So this really is going to be interesting and probably pretty strong if you get it with a creature that captures a lot, or if you just happen to capture a lot onto 1 creature. That could be potentially pretty insane burst. And you can imagine if you get that with a card like Imperial Forge. I don't know if that's going to be in the set or not. But if you could, then you could generate a ton of amber with the Epic Poem, and then forge, reducing your cost by the amber on that creature. And holy cow, if there are cards like Senator Shriek, Senator Brackus, and Callipygian Ideal that let you also spend the amber. Generate amber, and then forge, spending the amber and reducing your cost. It's too much. Too good. But that's a lot of things to fall together. Still seems pretty interesting. Okay, and then on to Unfathomable. We start out with Covetous Hema, who is a 3-power Aquan that, while it's not on a flank, gets elusive, and it has play capture 3. Interesting because you compare this with Old Bruno, it's immediately less powerful than Old Bruno in most ways because it only gets elusive when it's not on a flank. But still, I think it's pretty interesting and not sad to see it. Maybe it's a little more powerful because it only has one trait, so it's less vulnerable to Entropic Swirl. But I mean, do you really need to plan that much around Entropic Swirl? It is a good card. Okay, Kamelani is a 4-power Aquan with destroyed, make 2 token creatures. Okay, that seems fun and interesting. It looks like a jellyfish. Then we have Kelp Minder. This is the enhance card for Unfathomable, the enhanced common for Unfathomable. It's 5-power Aquan, so also big, and has enhance, capture, draw. Interesting how they're kind of costing these. You can think of the creature power and armor as the costs for the icons, where like higher values would mean lower benefit icons. So I guess reverse costs, but interesting how they're doing that. Okay, then we have initiation. This is an action, so this is one of the token actions in Unfathomable. And it says play make a token creature. If you have fewer than 4 cards in your hand, archive initiation. So I guess it's paying you off for playing for hand shaping, I guess. That's kind of interesting. And then we don't get a second token generator in Unfathomable, which is interesting because we have, oh no, you know what we did in Brobnar and Sanctum, we don't see another one in Saurian. We just saw Recruit, and then we saw another card that uses tokens, or you can use a token. Anyway, my point is, we see the archive card, we don't get another one right after it. Interesting. 2 more actions to spoil here anyway, though. This next one is pretty powerful in my opinion. It is Abyssal Sight. It's an action with an amber, and it says play destroy a friendly creature. Okay, that's a downside. If you do, look at your opponent's hand and choose a card from it. That player discards that card. That's powerful. I mean, getting to look at your opponent's hand and choose which card to discard, that's super good. So obviously you have to destroy a friendly creature to get that benefit, but it seems very strong. I like this card, and it common, that's exciting. Brain Drain was also a common, but I do think this is better because in most cases, certainly at the high end level, you're much happier to discard your opponent's card than put it back on top of their deck when you're getting to choose what that card is. All right, Crushing Deep is an action with an amber, and it says that during your opponent's next turn, keys cost +3 for each forged key they have. So yeah, this just gets better as the game goes on. If your opponent is checking for key 3, then this is going to increase the cost by 6. Early on, it does nothing actually. I mean, it just gets you an amber. So that's pretty interesting. I like these commons. I'm sure there are more commons that we haven't seen. But and of course they usually bring back some commons from previous sets. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Unfathomable because it's only been around for one set. But yeah, they usually bring back some commons from previous sets, have a lot of new commons, and I'm excited. I think it's going to be really fun to play, so should be good. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed and that you'll get out there and forge some keys. Hey, I guess I just tack this on to the other spoiler video because they got it out before I could publish. So I guess this will just be all the spoilers in one video. That makes sense, right? So yeah, so today Ghost Galaxy posted the common spoilers for the last 3 houses. which those being Star Alliance, Mars, and Equidon. So let's just go through them really quick. In Star Alliance, we see the first common we see is Specialist Guthrak, who's a 3-power alien hand-to-hand. Kirkar is a hand-to-hand. And Specialist Guthrak has Skirmish and After Fight / After Reap. I'm realizing that is a little wordy. I miss Fight Reap for that reason, although the clarity is better. Anyway, After Fight and After Reap. He captures 1 for each house represented among him and his neighbors. So, yeah, that is potentially pretty good. Gonna make Guthrak a target to get murdered, but still nice in a pinch. I like that effect. And rewards you for slotting, houses in separately around each other. Okay. Then we have CPO Zytar. This is the enhancing creature for Star Alliance. 4 power, 1 armor, and an alien Proximan scientist. Okay. And has enhance, damage, draw. That's cool. I like this one. Wow, that's actually that's better than Infomorph, because Infomorph just has draw and no armor. So I like that. Okay. Cool. Then we have Friendly Guide. This is a really interesting one. It's a 3-power alien with elusive, and after you use one of its neighbors, you can use Friendly Guide. So, so you get to use the Friendly Guide on your non-Star Alliance houses. Now, interestingly, they have not spoiled any upgrades in here, nor any robots that can also be upgrades. I'm sure they'll have some at common. I don't know if they'll be reusing some of the existing ones, or I'm sure they'll reuse at least one of the existing ones, or if they'll have some new ones. I assume they got to have some new stuff in upgrades at common. But anyway, none spoiled here. Okay. They did confirm in the text, though, that Star Alliance will have still a heavy focus on house cheating as well as on upgrades. They'll have the most upgrades of any house, which makes sense. Okay. On to recorded history. So this one's cool. It's an action with an amber. When you play it, you reveal up to 3 cards of different houses from your hand, and you archive each card revealed this way. Now, the interesting thing is you might not want to archive a Star Alliance card, so probably you're going to archive 2 cards this way. And archiving 2 cards of different houses is not necessarily great. It's better than not doing it, I guess, but it's not as good as archiving 2 cards of the same house. So there's some interesting stuff going on here. I'll be interested to see how it actually plays out. Then we have Teamwork. It's an action. This is the Make a Token Archive action for Star Alliance. And you archive it if there are more enemy creatures than friendly creatures. And I think it was either Brobnar or Saurian that had the if you have more creatures, then you archive it. This one lets you archive if you have fewer creatures. Then we have Rogue Operation, which is an action that lets you discard the top 2 cards of your deck, and then you steal 1 for each house represented among the discarded cards. So you'll certainly steal 1, you might steal 2. Not bad. Mix the Tall-Minded. We're into Mars now. Mix the Tall-Minded is fun. 5-power Martian that makes keys cost +1 for each friendly Mars creature in play, which is nice. Yeah, I like that. A little beefy, so not super easy and quick to kill, and fits within the Mars theme of synergy within Mars and not caring about other houses. Very excited to have them in a set with Star Alliance because they're just so opposite in that way. So should be fun. All right, Ironic's Vatminder. is a 3-power Martian Ironics with 1 armor, and after it's played and when it's destroyed, you make a token creature. That's the first time I've ever seen play/destroyed. So that is a new phenomenon there, and it totally makes sense. I'm not confused about how that works, which is good, but interesting. Then we have Glylix Weaponsmith. This is the enhancing common creature in Mars. It's a 4-power, 1 armor, just like the Starlance creature. It's a Martian artisan with enhanced 2 damage and 1 draw. Yep, makes sense. Actually, interesting to me that the Starlance got more draw. I guess because they're slightly more efficiency focused, but I certainly associate Mars with draw just because of Battlefleet and Martian Generosity. 2 cards, but they've been big ones. Okay, Clone Home. This is the make a token archive in Mars. So you make a token creature, and then if there are more friendly creatures than enemy creatures, you archive Clone Home. Is that not the same as... I thought that was the same as the Brobnar one. Let me go back here and see. Ah, Ragnarok Prep makes your opponent lose 2 if you have more. So I see. I got confused. Okay. Got it. So they are, in fact, different. All right. And yeah, it is funny because Clone Home is actually then the opposite of teamwork. Very thematic. Okay. Scoop Up is an action with an amber. When you play it, you put a friendly non-Mars creature and an enemy non-Mars creature into your archives. That's interesting. And if that enemy creature would leave the archives, return it to its owner's hand instead. No shock there. Yeah, I like this. I feel like so the Mars in maybe both old sets, certainly in Coda, had had an action where they, what was it called? They could archive enemy creatures based on how many keys your opponent has forged. So if they hadn't forged, it was useless. I like this because it doesn't matter when it comes in the game so much. And putting a friendly non-Mars creature in your archives could be very good, but it also means you're going to want to pull your archives, which means your opponent probably eventually gets their creature back. So a little more interactive in general that way, I would say. So I really like this card design. And then last Mars one in this post, we have Kaboom, which is an action that says put each Mars creature into its owner's archives, destroy each creature, gain 3 chains. Yeah, makes sense. That's pretty cool. So I guess you protect your opponent's Mars as well as yours. Everything else dies. The only sad thing is you can't play your Mars stuff back out, and in fact, your opponent will have the first opportunity to play Mars cards back out. So that is a little bit of a bummer, but still seems pretty good. Not sure what these numbers are in the alt text. 1933, 1934, 1925. Something to do with the set and the house or something. But anyway, all right. So then we have General Zay Orha, who is a 4-power Gatrukia soldier with skirmish. And when it's played, for each forged creature your opponent has, you make a token creature. That's cool. Potentially make 2. It's 4-power skirmish. That's fine. I mean, Snufflegator is just 4-power skirmish without this playability. So, Snufflegator is not a great card, but this potentially is better. So, I like that. They're clearly going with things I don't know how to pronounce. So that is going to be a journey. hopefully we can find out a way to learn how to pronounce these correctly. Because I for one like to pronounce things correctly if I possibly can, and need to learn somehow. I should Google it. I wonder, maybe this is from a language I just don't recognize, and if I put it into Google something, it'll turn up. Who knows? Then we have Gemcoat Vendor, who is a 6-power Gatrukia merchant. With action, steal 1, deal 1 damage to Gemcoat Vendor. So at 6 power, it's bigger than other creatures that have a similar effect, right? Which would be Pit Demon and Yancy Gang, who are at 5. It's definitely comparable to those, but it deals 1 damage to itself. So harder to kill and prevent from firing, but it also is more likely to kill itself over time. I wonder if there's some way to mitigate that um, in Equidon. That'll be interesting to see. But anyway, for now, this is what we know, and I think it's interesting and fun. Not sad. Okay, then we have Steward Su Uziane, who's the enhancing common creature in Equidon, and she has 2 power as a human artisan and has enhanced 2 amber and 1 draw, which is very good. That's why you have the lower stats, right? Because 2 amber and a draw is great. I mean, think about Gloriana's Attendant just has the 2 amber, no draw, and is 1 power. So I think this is pretty good. And yeah, I guess she's fixing the robots. I need to blow up the artwork so I can have any idea what's going on. But that seems good. All right, then we have, and I think that kind of confirms, if it wasn't already confirmed, Equidon is maybe sitting kind of partway in between Untamed and Shadows in the roles that it's filling, and that's also interesting to me. Then we have Higher On. This is their make a token and then archive action. It says make a token creature. If there's a combined total of 6 amber or more between both players' pools, archive Higher On. And this makes sense in Equidon because Equidon is tending to not only generate amber for yourself, but occasionally for your opponent. So the likelihood of this getting archived when you're on an Equidon turn is pretty good. Then we have the Visible Hand, which is a reference to... Actually, there's a couple other references that... There's probably more that I don't recognize, but Clone Home I thought was a great ET reference. Maybe before the generation of some players. The Visible Hand is, I think, a reference to the invisible hand of the market from economics speak. And then, so what it does is make 2 token creatures, and then you reveal your hand to your opponent. That's an interesting cost, and I'm just very interested to see if it's appropriate for make 2 token creatures, because to me that seems a little underpowered for having to reveal your hand, but I guess we'll just have to see. I'll be interested in 6 months how I feel about seeing this in a deck. And the last one we have here is Auction Off, which is an action with an amber that says play Persian artifact. Its controller gains 1. That's interesting. I think the obvious comparison here is to Reclaimed by Nature, which is definitely a better card than this, because a Reclaimed by Nature, you get the benefit from it regardless of what you did, of what you purged. And I guess there's a case where if you're purging your own artifact that has no amber on it, this is better because it gives you an amber. So that's the one case where this would be better. But in most cases, I think Reclaimed by Nature is a better card. But usually, you're just really excited to see the auction, the artifact that you're purging gone. So I think this is good overall. At common, that's going to be pretty formidable. And it's probably fair to have it potentially help your opponent a little, especially given all the other like steely stuff that Equidon does. So that is great. I am excited to see some of these cards physically in person at Keyforge Celebration in 2 days from now. And I guess they kind of had to get all this post out of the way quickly because I expect that there will be a rules update posted probably tomorrow. I mean, they got to give us some time to read it before the event, right? So I'm excited for that too. Um, hope you are also excited about the new set, and hope you can get out and forge some keys. Thanks.